Hello everyone. In this video lecture, we are going to see Module 4 topic of Operating System subject of 6th semester with syllabus code or subject code 17CS64. Module 4 contain virtual memory management concept, also file system, implementation of file system, also implementation of file system concept is there in your module 4. Virtual memory concept or virtual memory management concept we already completed in the previous video lecture. In this video lecture we are going to see about file system, also implementation of file system and directory concept. Here we have to refer operating system principle 7th edition textbook for these topics. Here file system and implementation of file system concept, we will start that. First topic is file concept. What you mean by file? You know, in your file, in your hand you have one file, means that contain related information about you itself, right? So in your computer you have one folder, inside that we have file, means that file contains some of the related information about you itself, so or any others information. So file contain set of information, that is called file. A file is a collection of related information. Related information is there in file, that is recorded on secondary storage. File is saved in secondary storage, that is a hard disk. Hard disk we are going to save our files that contain main related informations. A file is sequence of bits, bytes, lines or records, the meaning of which is defined by the file creator or user. File is sequence of bit, that may be either some file may be records, or it may contain some zeros and ones, or it may contain some bytes or lines. Something is there in your file, informations are there in file, defined by the file creator and user. Any who created that file, their information is there in file, or who is a user, their information is there in file. The file system consists of two distinct parts. It consists of two parts. One is a collection of files, another one is directory structure. Directory structure means and collection of file. So that is two things consist related to file system. But what do you mean by file system? File system is how we are going to collect files, how we are going to save files. That entire concept is called file system. Okay, how we are going to collect files and where we are going to save that, how much protection we are giving for that particular file, and in the hard disk which position we are going to save that. Every information and every concept is coming under file system management. So in this we have two parts. One is a collection of file, that means each storing related data. File means it contains data, right? So how to collect files. And a directory structure. What do you mean by directory structure? Which organize and provides information about all the files in the system. Anyway, files we are going to store in disk. Disk means secondary storage device. Okay, in short form we are calling as disk here. So that all files stored in disk. So where it is stored and which position it is stored, what is the pointer position, every details are there in directory. So directory, you know about your phone directory. Phone directory contain all the phone numbers, names, like this related information about that person is there in your phone directory. Like that your directory contain related information about that file which organize and provide information about all the files. Directory contain all the information about all files in the system. Okay, now file attributes. A file is named for convenience of its human user and is referred to by its name. File attribute means file parameters, file contents, how to some of the parameters or factors related to file is called file attributes. We will see that a file attribute vary from one operating system to another, may vary files. The attributes of a file are: one is name, identifier, type, location, size, protection, time, date, and user identification information is there in file attribute. These are the file attributes. Name means the symbolic file name is the only information kept in human readable form. Human can detect that file by using file name, right? And identifier, it is unique number that identifies the file within the file system, that is a id for that particular file. Type of the file, like text, executable, or we have some extension, right? Movie having .mp4 or some software having .exe file, like that. That is a format. Okay, type. And location of the file on that device, where that file is saved in that particular device, that information is the location. Size, the size of your file. Okay, and protection, how much protection is given. Protection means access control. In order to control your access by other person, access control is there. So reading, writing, executing, like this we are going to give some, we are going to protect that file. So protection information, that is called also file attribute. Another, time, date, and user identification. That means data can be useful for more protection, security, and usage monitoring. These data are very much required. Time, which time that opened file, which time that created file, which time that deleted file, every information. When it is opened, when it is closed, the date, everything. When, who opened that file, that is a user identification. Who opened that file, who created, who deleted, who edited, every information is there in, that is called a file attribute. Okay, file operation, the operating system provides system call to create, write, read, reposition, delete, and truncate. What do you mean by create? Some of the system calls are there, that one by one we will see the, in order to operate your file, lot of system calls are used. One by one we are going to see that system call. First one is creating a file. Two steps are necessary to create a file. What are the two steps? One is find space in the file system for this file. It means in the disk or in the your secondary storage device or your hard disk. Find the space for that particular file. That is the first one. Then make an entry for that new file in the directory. All file present in your whatever in hard disk, that entry should be there in directory, because easily you can get that entry, or easily you can find out that file presentation by using that directory, right? By seeing directory you will get all information about that file. That's why first find the space related to that file. Where we are going to save the file, first see that space, find that space, then make entry for that new file in the directory. First you have to make entry, that is creating file. Then writing file means we have to write file, we have to create file. Create file is over, right? Yeah. Writing file means we are going to write something in that file, something is written inside that file, that is called writing file. Reading file means we are going to read that file. Writing and reading is different. Writing means someone going to write inside that file. Reading means someone going to read something something is present inside the file, we have someone going to read that. That is called reading file. Then repositioning within a file. Repositioning means just changing that position of data inside your file. See, directory is searched for a file. Directory is searched for a file, and the file pointer is repositioned to given value. The file operation is also known as file seek. That means repositioning within a file, changing position. Okay. Then we have another system call is deleting. Deleting is another system call related to file operation. Deleting, you know, we are going to delete that file. Now one thing you have to consider, if you are going to delete file, all information related to that file is deleted. all attributes including file name, file size, everything is deleted. That is a concept of deleting. Okay, now but while coming to truncating a file means the user may want to erase the content of the file. Okay, inside the file he want to delete that contents but keep the attributes as it is. Attribute means I told name, size of the file, that file information is keep it as it is, but what is inside the file, just delete that. Don't delete file, just delete information present inside that file. But deleting a file concept means delete entire file itself, then it will delete all the attributes also. Information about currently open file is stored in open file table. It contains information like open file table is there, one table. So it contains information about currently whichever file is opened, right? That open file information is there, open file table. Now what is there information inside this table? We will see that file pointer is there. File pointer, that means record current position of the file. Okay, then file open count, how many number of file is how many number of time that file is open, how many number of times the file is edited, how many number of time, that open count. Okay, open file open count is how many number of times current file been opened. That concept is file open time. That is there in your file table. Okay, open file table. Then disk location of the file, in which part of the disk that file is saved, that is the location. That also there in your file table. Okay, open file table, we have that information also. Then access rights, what are the access right that for access rights for that particular file? That means how we have to access that. Is that only read permission is there? Is that only write permission is there? Or is that both read and write permission is there? So that concept is also there here in the access right part. Okay, open file table contain, these are the main things. If you're opening that file, you will get these things. One is where is your pointer, current pointer. Another one is how much time that file is already opened and in which part of the disk that file is saved. Another, how many protection is given for that particular file, that also there in the open file table related to that file. Okay, some system provides support for file locking. What do you mean by file locking? A shared lock is a reading only. So first thing is shared lock is for reading only purpose we are using shared lock. Another one is a exclusive lock, is for writing as well as reading. That is using for, that means we are putting lock for the file. What are the different locks we have? One is shared lock, that lock is for reading only. Shared lock means is for reading only, we can put only for reading. Another one is a exclusive lock, means it is for reading and writing. We can put reading and writing lock, we can lock that. Okay, then advisory lock, what do you mean by that? It is up to the software developer who develops a software, that his responsibility, he can do anything. Software developer to ensure that locks are acquired or released. Who will develop that software, right? His job. He want means he can release that lock. He don't want means he can acquire that lock. Anyway, completely given responsibility given to software developer. Then another one is a mandatory lock. Mandatory lock means it prevent any other process from accessing a locked file. Consider one locked file is there. Okay, that is not not only anyone can't open that file, means that is a mandatory lock. Prevent any other process from, means the other process can't access that particular file. Okay, that file is completely locked, that is called mandatory lock. These are the different lock system of the file. So another is a file type. File name consists of two parts. One is a name, another one is a extension. You know that if you are going to open one file that contain two parts, right? One is a file name, another one is a file extension. So file name and extension, we have one example here. They given here. See, file type, exit type means what? You know, extension. So one file name is a file name. Manually you can give anything. Okay, that is user defined. But what about this extension? Extension means some video file .mp4, some software file .exe, some library file .dll, like that. So that is completely that extension. So we have different extensions here. See, exe, .bin. I think you have seen this in your computers. .bin, .obj, that is one extension. Then .txt, text file. .doc, document file. Okay, then .lib, library file. Then .zip file. Okay, like this mp3 file, avi file. These are the different extension. So this is the file type contain, one is file name, another one is the extensions are, these are the extension example for that particular file. Okay, what is the file structure? The study of different way of storing files in a secondary memory. So again, file structure means you are going to study different way of storing files in a secondary memory. What are the ways we can store that particular file in secondary memory? That way we are going to study in your file structure concept, such that they can be easily accessed. Why we are going to study? We have to easily access that file. For that purpose, we are going to study how we can store different ways of storing that file in your secondary memory. That concept is file structure. File type can be used to indicate the internal structure of the file. Certain files must be particular structure that is understood by the operating system. Certain files having particular structures that is decided by OS. Okay, that structures everything decided by OS. Now they given an example. Operating system requires that an executable, that means .exe file, okay, have a specific structure so that it can determine where in memory to load the file and the location of the first instruction. So that is a specific structure operating system requires. Okay, determine where we are going to load that and where we are going to load a .exe file and what is the location of that. Everything is operating system requires. That means it needs, operating system needs that detail. Okay, so anyway, file structure, we are going to study that information about how we are going to store, different methods to store your file in secondary memory, only to easy access. Another concept is called internal file structure. Internal file structure, here this concept is, your disk space is always allocated in terms of blocks. Okay, your entire disk, secondary memory, is divided in blocks. Some portion of the last block is always wasted. So you are going to divide that in blocks and block internal disk structure, file structure, right? So here your concept is secondary memory we are dividing into small blocks. So consider your file you are loading in that particular block. Assume that block size is high but your file size is less. You are going to move less file size into larger block, then file size is less, right? So that's why there are lot of space in the blocks are wasted. That wasted part is called internal fragmentation. So internal fragmentation means we are going to load small file into larger block. What is a block? We are dividing entire secondary memory into small partitions or blocks. There we are going to load, but one block having lot space, but we are loading small file. Then there is a wastage of block. Then that is called internal fragmentation. So that we have to avoid, actually internal fragmentation concept we have to avoid. This is there in internal file structure. Then we are going for different access methods for your file. Different access method of file. So how we are going to access your file from secondary device or your from hard disk, okay, or your from disk. We normally we are calling as disk itself, either a secondary device or a secondary disk, hard disk, like this. So we are going to save your file in there, that. But how we are going to access that? That different methods are there. That methods are here: sequential, direct, indexed. We will see that one by one. First one, sequential. How we are going to access that file from secondary device, that we will see. Here, information in the file is processed in order, one record after the other. So one by one, that is called linear search method actually. One by one file is searched. Now consider 100 files are there. But if you are going for sequential access, 100 files, you want 99th file. Okay, now consider you want 99th file, but totally 100 files are there. So you have to search that 99th file from the first itself. First search first file. Is that your file? If yes, take that. No, we want 99th, right? So continue. Again, second file we have to check. No, third file, fourth file. Like this, it continues till 99th file. So this is called sequential access. One by one record we have to find. This mode of access is common method. This is a common method. So editor, compiler are using this method. But here we have three operations actually in the sequential access. One is read next. Reading is there, writing is there, and skipping is there. Skip, we can skip our file. But one thing here they told sequential, right? Sequential means one by one file we have to search. So first file is searched. So one thing is second we can skip. Maximum third we can skip. But fourth one we have to again search. Like that. Skipping means one or two file we can skip. But we have to search in order. Okay, one by one. So that is called skipping. That skipping is there in backward or forward manner. Backward means you can see here we are in this position, current position. You can read files. Each file you can read. Each file you can write. That are the operations. Okay. Another one is skipping file. Skipping file means you are in this part, but directory here you need whatever you needed file is here. So one by one you can skip, one by one. So either you can go backward. Skipping is possible backward side or forward side. That's why here they give unlimited to plus or minus 1. Only one file we can skip. See this, only one file, not one, more than one. Only one file we can skip. So you are searching 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Now you don't want 5, directly go for 6. That is possible because one file skipping is possible. But more than one is not possible. That is, if now you are currently in 5th file. Now you want to go to 8th file. That is not possible because skipping more than one is not possible. Okay, I think you understood this sequential access. This thing why we are using to access the file. One by one file we are going to search and we are going to get our last file. But time consuming, lot of time it will take because a lot of files we have to search, right? So it will consume lot of time. That is the disadvantage here. Second method is the direct access. So what do you mean by direct access? A file is made up of fixed length logical record that allow a program to read and write randomly. The record can be rapidly accessed in any order. So in the previous case we seen what is it in sequential order, right? Sequential order, that is the name itself, sequential access. But here direct access means no need to go for sequentially. Directly we can go for that file. So if you are having 100 file, you need 78th file. Directly you can go for 78th file. That method is called direct access. Okay, no need to search one by one. Directly we can go for that particular file. This is a more efficient procedure, direct access method. Okay, so operation, 3 operations are there. Read, yes, we can read that file. Write, particular file we can write. Jump also possible. I told what is the jump means. See, previous we have skip. Skip means one or two file we can skip, but other thing we have to search linearly. But here direct access, directly we can jump to that particular file. First file you are searching, but now first file you are position in first file, you need 68th file, directly you can jump to 68th file. Okay, totally we can avoid that remaining 66 files. Directly we can jump to 68th file. So that is also possible, that is called jump. This is possible in direct access, directly we can access that file in that disk. Okay, third manner is index. So what do you mean by index? How to access that file? That methods we are going to see here one by one. One is a sequential access, that is method to access file. Second method is direct access, that is also method to access file. Third method is index method, that is also to access your file from hard disk. So how to access that file? These methods generally involve the construction of index for the file called index file. Index method contain one file, that is called index file. I think you know your all of you in your any book or any textbook or any other book, we have one index page. What index page contains? All the details, which page number we have that content or topic, that everything information is there in your index page. By seeing index page you can directly jump to that particular page, right? So like that, here we have one index. Okay, that is there in your secondary hard disk itself. Okay, now when you are accessing your file, first you have to search index page, index file, search index file. There we have all the information about file, which file is there in which position, or which file is saved in which position of the secondary memory. That thing is there in index file. Just see index file and search for your file and see which part of the disk it is saved. You will get that number also there in the index. Then you can directly jump to there. It is also direct access. Directly you can jump to that particular file. Okay, this is called index file. Anyway, we are maintaining index for the all files. Now we are going for another one, directory structure. Directory means it contains all the information about files. Okay, where is your file, what is the size of the file, what is the name of the file, and all information about file is there in your directory. So directory is a structure which contains file name, information about all the file like location, size, type, everything. I think you understood this. The file are put in different directory. Okay, there are a lot of directories are there, not one, we have different directories. Partition is useful for limiting the size of individual file system, putting the multiple file system type on the same device, or leaving part of the device available for the other users. That means you can divide directories. We can prepare different directories. By that we can reduce the size of your directory. If you are reducing your size of the directory, easily you can search your file immediately. Okay, so consider we have only one directory, there we have lot of pages. Okay, lot of information. Consider one file contain 10,000 pages. So you need one of the file. How to search that? It is very difficult to search that particular file in the 10,000 pages of directory, right? In order to avoid that, we can divide our directory into 3 to 4 directories. So one directory contain 200 page. Consider 5 directory we prepared. 5 into 2, 5 into 2000, like that we are going to get 10,000. 5 directories are there, each will store 2000 entries. Okay, now you will get 10,000 entries. Instead of storing all the 10,000 entry in one directory, we are dividing directories, we are partitioning directories, and we are saving that information of the file in one directory. But one thing is required, all the directory, for that we have to maintain one index. Okay, for one directory. Where is that directory? What are the information is there in that directory? That thing we have to maintain one index. Five file directories are there, means for the all file directories we have to maintain one index. Like this we can go for directory structure. Here one concept is partitions are known as slices, and any entity containing a file system is generally known as volume. See this volume, any entity containing a file system is generally known as volume. We have to see some concept related to volume in the coming slides. Okay, now I think you understood about directory structure. Okay, it contains all the file name and informations about the file. We have some of the structures, directory structures. So one is single level directory, then two level directory, then tree level, that is a tree structure, and acyclic graph directory. These are the different file directory structures. Okay, again directory will store all the information about the file. We have four methods for directory structure. We will see one by one. First one is a single level directory. What it contains? See, you can see this diagram. Here we have one directory. Okay, this is complete one directory. In that directory itself we are going to store all the user informations. All the user informations are stored in only one directory. So here for your reference I will tell you this small box is there, right? That is your directory. Okay, and whatever we have round part, that is called actually one file. Okay, so you can see this is file and this is directory. Okay, now file are stored in directory. So this is only one directory, complete one directory. There we are going to store all the files there. If there are 10 users are there, all the 10 user files, related files, we are going to store in that one directory. Then what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages here? Advantages are simple. This is a simple structure. But another one, all files are contained in the same directory. You know that. Here one directory user means all, here cat is a one user, Bo is another user, A is another user, test is another user. Like this, all the user names. Okay, each user name or each user contains some files. All the user in one directory, there all files are there in one directory. So one small directory contains everything. So all files are contained in same directory, which is easy to support and understand, right? It is easy to support, right? Because all the files are there in one, so it is easy to maintain. But one thing, disadvantage is all files are in the same directory, must have unique names. Must have unique names, because in the one directory we are going to store that all names of the or all files of the user, means each file name should be different. If both file name is same in one, let us consider your one folder. Okay, in your computer or in your mobile you are opening one folder. In that particular folder you have to save all the files with the different name, right? If two files with same name, is that possible? No, that is possible in another folder, but not possible in same folder. We can't create same name file. Like that, all files are in the same directory, then give different name. Okay, unique name means different names. Two level directory, each user get their own directory space. See here, you can see diagram. Here we have one directory, one full directory. This directory is used by 4 users. This is one directory that called master directory. Entire directory contain 4 users, user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. 4 users can use this one directory. Okay, now here one thing is possible, depend on user. How many users are there? 4. so they can create one subdirectory in that main directory. Inside that they can create one subdirectory for that, only for that particular user. Now user 1, that is directory, main directory or master directory can be accessed by user. Okay, now inside master directory user 1 can create another subdirectory. Here we have subdirectory. So this subdirectory contain all the files related to user, and user 2, he created one subdirectory inside main directory, and in that subdirectory what are the related files of user 2 can save inside that subdirectory. In this user 3, he created one subdirectory, size is less, okay, this size is less, this size is large, size is different, so directory size is different, and in that directory user, whichever file is related to use that particular user, he can save that file in that directory. Okay, file information he can save that in directory. So this is about two level directory. Two level means one is master, one is user, main directory and subdirectory, right? One is master, this main directory is master, subdirectory is user. So that's why we have two names, master file directory and user file directory. So each user get their own directory space, user file identifier, UFD. Okay, file name only need to unique within a given user's directory. One thing, in the previous case we had only one directory, so we had to give single name or unique name in entire directory for the file. But here what are the files present in user 1 directory, right? For this directory we have to give unique names. That means here we have 5 files or 4 files or 10 files for the user 1 directory. There we have to give unique name. This whatever file we have in the user 1 and whatever file we have in user 2 directory, that can have same name, no problem. But in a single directory whatever we have files, that should have unique name. Here unique name, here unique name. But whatever comparing, if you are going to compare this directory and this directory, out of these two we can have common file name. Okay, so this is about two level directory. When a user refers to a particular file, only his own UFD is searched. And when you are going to delete file, when create file also, user can save file in his directory. When they are deleting file also, user 1 want to delete file of his directory, he can delete, but that won't disturb to user 2 files. I will repeat, user want to delete a file in one directory, his directory, then he can delete that, but that won't affect to user 2 directory file. That is one advantage in this method, two level directory. Then we have tree structure directory. Tree structured, you can see this diagram, we have here tree structure, different structure, that is a arrow marks we can see, right? That is a tree structure. Different structure is somewhat different compared to previous. Okay, tree manner we have that structure, that's why it is a tree structured. What do you mean by tree structure? The tree has a root directory. What is a root directory? That is a main directory. In the previous case we called master directory. The main directory is called root directory. Okay, this one is a root directory, main one. And every file in the system has a unique path name. Every file in the system has a unique path name. Here I will explain this concept. Here we have root directory. We have 3 users. One is a spell, bin and program. 3 users are there. Spell user can create his own directory. He created one directory. Okay. And bin created another directory. Program created another directory. Okay. Now, here we subdirectory is there, right? That directory we have again 3 parts here. What is that? stat mall and dist, right? This, sorry, stat mail and dist. So mail can create another directory here. If stat one directory, he can also create another directory, but he saved only file here. One file is saved here, so not any other directory is there, only file saved here. But mail created another directory, but dist not created another directory, it only stored file. Some file is there here inside this. So any user or any directory want to create subdirectory, option is there in 3 level. Okay, but in the 2 level, in this 2 level, only one is master, one is user. User file or user level directory can't create another directory. That is the condition here, only 2 level. But here tree structure means, first here we have root, they can create one directory, this directory can create another directory, this directories can create another directories, like that, that will continue like tree. Okay, and if that particular directory don't want to create directory, then only file is saved in that directory. Okay, so this concept is called tree structure. But here special system call are used to create a delete directory. So if you want to create file or if you want to create directory, yeah, anyway, this directory is created, this one, this directory is created, this one, and this directory, copied directory is created all, and exp directory is not created anything, he is just saved file, and prog is created one directory with the list, obj and spell, like this. Spell will save one file. This is a manner. So special system call is used to create a directories. Another one, path name can be 2 types. One is absolute and relative. What do I mean by absolute? See here, absolute path begins at the root and follows it down to the specified file, giving the directory name of the path. From the root, this is a root, from the root till that file, all the path is represented in the absolute. But relative means only current directory. Current directory means only that particular directory. I will give name. See, I want to access this file. I want to access this file. So if you are going for absolute method, how to give name, how to give path? First, this file name, that file name is present in first. First is related to which directory? So sorry, first is a directory that is related to PRT. PRT is related to mail. Mail is related to spell. Spell is related to root. So like this we have path. First we have spell. Then from this spell we have mail. From mail we have PRT. PRT to first. First to file. This is your path in the absolute. But relative means you have to access this file, means only you have to give this one first. First slash file. That is the address of that file of the in the relative manner. Absolute means from this to this we have to give every path. So this is your tree structure directory. Here one disadvantage is there, only one disadvantage, that is you can't share your file between your 2 directories. See here exp, this is a directory that will save your one file, but this file you can't share with recorder. That means another directory. We can't share that one file with the 2 directory. That is not possible. That in tree structure. But in order to make possible, we are going for another manner, that is a acyclic graph directory. Here you can see first one we have one directory, that is a root directory, that will create, that is a dict will create another directory. Here this will create another directory, or it will save one file, that is a leave to OS or user. But when you can see dict will create another directory, spell will create another directory. Okay, now in that dict here second level directory, count will create or count will save one file. Count will not create a directory, it will save one file. Same file is saved by another one, that is created by spell. So this is possible only in the acyclic graph directory, because we need this in order to reduce the time, in order to get good path, in order to mainly increase the performance. We need this method, sharing of file between two directories. We need that. We are getting clear picture of that file if you are using like this. That is possible only in the acyclic graph directory. Okay. Now we are going for another concept called file mounting. What you mean by file mounting? The basic idea behind file mounting system is to combine multiple file system into one large tree structure. Again, here file system mounting, I think mounting concept you know in the previous semesters. Mounting means what? We are going to give one virtual position. We are going to give one virtual position to save your data. Okay, so if you want to save that in one folder, suddenly now consider one software. We are opening that software, we are typing some program in that software. You want to save that program in particular file, that is you save as, and if you are going to save, that is saved in that file. Now consider you want to change that file position or saving position. Now you don't want to save in D drive, you want to save in E drive. What to do? Suddenly you have to use file mounting. File mounting concept, then your path will be changed. That means you will save your file or you will save your code in E drive instead of D drive. So path is changed. Okay, that concept is called mounting. We seen that in fourth semester related to your microprocessor subject. There we used mount concept. Okay, in the microprocessor lab we used mount slash some D slash mount, like that we used. We have to, instead of going for that particular file, long path is there. Consider long path is there for accessing that file, means we are going to use one small name, either D or E, like that, or Z. We are giving one name, okay, virtual name, and we are going to mount that path to the virtual name. That concept we seen in the fourth semester. Same concept we are going to use here. File mounting, file system mounting. It is a basic idea behind mounting file system is to combine multiple file system into one large tree structure. Okay, the mount command is given a file system to mount and a mount point on which to attach it. You can see this diagram. I will explain by using this diagram. Say here we have slash. Okay, it started with the slash, then we have directory that is given to user, then we have again subdirectories, again we have two names here, again for this we have again subdirectory, like this. Okay, now you are using this one. You want to mount this point to this point. That means you want to remove this. Then after user, in this user point, that is called mount point. Okay, user is a mount now. So you want to remove these things and you want to add this path to here. Okay, so you will get slash bar. So here we have that diagram. See, now this is the initial diagram, unmount part. So just remove this part and add this or move this part to this part after deleting. So you will get this diagram. So user to, see, user to, one is SUE, one is JANE. You will get that. From JANE again we have this different part, but we removed this. Why not actually removed? We mounted this. Actually this is a unmount and this is a mount. We mounted this one here. That is a file system mounting concept. Here while coming to file system mounting, I think you understood this concept. Now let us go to another concept, that is called file sharing. What do you mean by file sharing? we are going to share file between different users. That is a general method. You know that we are going to share one file between different users, that concept on a multi-user system. If you have many users for that particular system, you have to share your file between that users. So on multi-user system, more information need to be stored for each file, right? More information need for each file. We have one concept, the owner. User is the owner who owns the file and who can control its access. That is one method to share file. Owner can take control of its access. That is the one method. Second is the group of other user ID that may have some special access to the file. That means here only one person can access, or one person can give control or one person can control that file. That is called owner. Okay. Another one is a concept called group. What is the concept of group? In the concept of group, many users are there. All users will get control of that particular file. For that group, we have one ID that is called group ID. Okay, all entire group, whoever present in that group, they can read, they can write, they can execute that file. So that is called group method. And another method is a user method, or owner method. Means only one person is a owner and he can control access of that particular file. So here file sharing concept we have to see here. Now in the file sharing concept, one of the thing is remote file system. Remote file system. What do you mean by remote file system? That means only one system is that will control, that will remote control. That means one system will control everything. So that is a remote file system. One main system is like a server client. One main system is that will control everything. So here the advent of internet introduces issues for accessing files stored on the remote computer. So some of the methods are there. First method is, you can see FTP. FTP means file transfer protocol. Okay, FTP means file transfer protocol. We are using this protocol, FTP protocol, to transfer a file from one system to another system. We are using this protocol to transfer file. Okay, so that is a file transfer protocol, FTP method. Next is a distributed file system. You know distributed system means what? We seen in the module 1, right? So distributed file system. Many systems are connected each other through LAN. So each consider we have 5 buildings. Okay, 5 buildings. Out of 5 buildings, one building we have 10 PCs. All the 10 PCs are connected by using LAN. And another building we have 5 PCs. That 5 PCs are connected by using LAN, and that 5 buildings are connected each other by WAN. Okay, wide area network. That is a concept we see in distributed part in module 1. So that concept we have to apply here, distributed file system. Okay, and third one we have to go for WWW. That is a World Wide Web. That concept we are going to use here. So made it easy once again to access files. WWW concept, that is a World Wide Web concept, also we are going to use to access file. One method to access file is file transfer protocol. Second method to access file is distributed file system. Third method to to access the file sharing method is WWW. These 3 are file sharing methods. FTP is one file sharing method. Distributed file system is another file sharing method. WWW is another file sharing method. 3 methods we seen in the remote file system concept. Remote file system, we have another 3 main concepts here. Okay, one is client server model. Second one is a distributed information system. Third one is a failure modes. So what do you mean by client server model, what do you mean by distributed information system, what do you mean by failure model, that we can see in the next slide here. Client server model. When one computer system remotely mounts a file system that is physically located on another system, the system which is physically owns the file act as a server, and the system which mounts them is a client. Client server model, you know that one server is there, that server will control, or server having lot of information. If any client want to access that information, client will send one request to server, server will see that request. If that request is proper, then server will send that file or content to client. That is client on server model. So one of the example for client and server model is NFS. NFS means network file system. Full form of LFS is network file system. It is one of the example of client server model actually. So again here we have server that have a lot of files, informations, file, okay, and client want to access that file, means client will send one request to server, server will check that request, and if that is true, if that is valid, then only server will send that file, requested file, to client. Okay, so this is the client server model. Now here another point is given, same computer can be both client and server, right? So a lot of information is there in one server, client can also become that as a, act as a server. So here one system can act as a client or one system act as a server, that is both possibilities there, server and client. So any information is not there in server, then that server act as a client and that will ask information with another server. Okay, that is a concept. Second type of remote file system is distributed information system. Distributed information system, what is this? We have I told in the previous slide, distributed information system, it is connected by using LAN and WAN, that concept. The domain name system, DNS full form is domain name system, provides for a unique naming system across all of the internet. That means for the system there is a unique name, okay, that unique name is given by DNS, domain name system. Okay, domain name are maintained by network information system. NIS will maintain domain names, okay, which is unfortunately has several security issues. That's why they give an updated version, NIS plus. Okay, so this is the update version, more secure version, because of security issue of NIS, they introduced another one, NIS plus. There we have that is a more secure version than this. Okay, now Microsoft Common Internet File System, CIFS, full form of CIFS is Common Internet File System, establishes a network login for each user on a network system. This will use network login for user in the network system. Okay, older Windows system use a domain method. Okay, now it is a network login system using. In the Windows system, the older we using domain system. Okay, and newer system they using Active Directory system. Okay, that is a network login system. Network login system, older days we had the domain, now we have Active Directory. Now newer approach is lightweight directory access protocol. Now newest approach we have one thing, that is a LDAP, okay, lightweight directory access protocol, which provides a secure single signing. In order to sign in, that is a you need security also, right? That particular file we need security also. So it is a more secure version than previous everything, LDAP. It is a so secure single sign in is there for that all user for that particular file access. Okay, so normal nowadays this one is using LDAP. Now failure mode. So what do you mean by failure mode? When a local disk file is unavailable. When a file is unavailable, the result is generally known as immediately and is generally not recoverable. See, now you are going to access one file. That file is not there in that disk. So that mode is called failure mode. This is simple thing. Okay, your file is there. You are searching for some file. Just assume you are searching for some file. You are thinking that that file is there in your secondary device or hard disk. So you are starting your searching. Now your file is not there in the disk. Then that is called failure mode. That file is not there. That's why that is mode is called failure mode. So non-recoverable. Either your file is in non-recoverable manner, then also you will get failure mode itself. Okay, so then you are getting message, fail message, response is fail. Okay, fail message you are going to get. These are the topics related to your file system management and implementation of file system management. Now remaining topics we will see that in next video lecture. Thank you.